Good morning everyone. Good morning mates and sir. We are the group 1 and for today's discussion, we are going to discuss the entire coverage of chapter 1 in therapeutic modalities. Let's go.
Thousands have been killed since 2016 when the so-called war on drugs was launched.
The human rights situation in the Philippines has worsened amid the pandemic.
For drug offenders by government officials. The committee also flagged the state's refusal to cooperate with the International Human Rights Network.
We've also managed to document the killings of at least 248 human rights defenders, journalists, trade unionists, and lawyers. The High Commissioner is calling for an independent investigation into the situation, into the human rights violations in the Philippines. This could be a national or an international investigation, but as long as it is a credible investigation, the High Commissioner stands ready to support it.
So, para sa ating scope and objective sa discussion na to, we must understand the different nature and definition of human rights, learn the basic characteristics of human rights, the human rights principles, the classification of rights, and we must also know the stages of human rights, understand the three obligations of state parties, and the sources and foundation of human rights and law, know the civil and political rights, and most especially the rights of a person under custodial investigation, the Miranda Doctrine, and the rights of a person during custodial investigation, and the Republic Act number 7438. And last is the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for Treatment of Prisoners, or also known as the Nelson Mandela Rules.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. I'm Jesus Gonzalez, member of Group 1. Human rights, those are inherent in our nature and without which we cannot live as human beings. It allows us to develop and use our human qualities, intelligence, talents, and conscience, and to satisfy our spiritual and other needs. Supreme, inherent, and inalienable rights to life, dignity, and self-development, the essence of these rights makes man human. Basic characteristics of human rights. 1. Inherent, not granted by any person or authority. 2. Fundamental. Without them, the life and dignity of a man will be meaningless. 3. Inalienable, cannot be rightfully taken away from free individual, cannot be given away or be forfeited. Number 4. Imprescriptible, cannot be lost or even if man fails to use or assert them, even by a long passage of time. 5. Indivisible, not capable of being divided, cannot be denied even when other rights have already been enjoyed. 6. Universal, it applies irrespective of one's origin, status, condition, or place where one lives. 7. Interdependent, the fulfillment of exercise of one cannot be had without the realization of the other. The dignity of man and human life is inviolable. From the dignity of man is derived the right of every person to free development of his personality. A legitimate state should exist to ensure that in the discharge of governmental functions, the dignity that is the birthright of every human being is duly safeguarded. Classifications of rights. Natural rights, God-given rights, acknowledged by everybody to be morally good, unwritten, but prevail as norms of society. 2. Constitutional rights, conferred and protected by the Constitution and which cannot be modified or taken away by the lawmaking body. Statutory rights, those rights are which provided by law, promulgated by the lawmaking body, may be abolished by the body that created them. Stages of human rights. Idealizations. Notions about human rights start in the realm of ideas that reflect consciousness against oppression or inadequate performance of the state. positivization, where the support for the ideas becomes strong and thus incorporates them into legal instruments. Realization. These rights are already being enjoyed by the citizens by the transformation of the social, economic, and political order. 3 obligations of state parties. 1. Obligation to respect. Article 2 of the ICCPR contains this obligation. Indicates that the negative character of civil and political rights commanding the state to refrain from restricting the exercise of these rights is not expressly allowed. 2. Obligation to ensure. Article 2 of the ICCPR also encompasses this obligation that state parties must be proactive to enable individuals to enjoy their rights. Article 2 of the ICCPR points out that to provide for an effective remedy for victims and human rights, it must adopt executive, judicial, and legislative measures. 3. Obligation to protect. To prevent private individuals or groups or entities from interfering with the individual's civil and political rights. Dinefine natin ang human rights bilang pang-international rights sa buong mundo at sinabi din natin dito ang iba't ibang tao na kailangan respetuhin, pahalagahan at atalahanin palagi. Sources of foundations of human rights law.
Mark Louis B. Canua, reporter from Group 1. Sources and foundations of human rights law. The 1987 Constitution. The 1987 Constitution is the basic source of human rights law in the Philippines. As early as Biak na Bato, our forefathers were conscious about the rights of human beings. The CHR is not a regular commission, not like the COA or the Civil Service. It is an independent commission that investigates on human rights violations and establish programs of education and information to enhance respect for the primacy of human rights. This constitution is sometimes called as Human Rights Constitution. The 1987 Constitution is the 7th Constitution drafted by Filipinos.
U Thant, former Secretary General of the UN, called the 3 documents of the optional protocol to Covenant on Civil and Political Rights as Magna Carta for mankind, and is the essential prerequisite for peace at home and in the world.
The declaration was adopted by 48 votes in favor, none against, the 8 abstentions. Carlos Romulo was also there during the drafting of CHR of the UN. The preamble of the UDHR refers to the concept of inherent human dignity and one inalienable nature of human rights. It is also called for intercultural consensus by indicating that a common understanding of the rights and freedoms is to achieve promotion of universal respect for observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms. The UDHR is the first internationally adopted catalog of human rights. Mary Robinson, former High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that the common language of humanity, the language of human rights, is enshrined in the UDHR. International Covenant on the UDHR. Adopted anonymously by 106 states and entered into force in 1978. Civil and political rights. The provision in the Bill of Rights can be classified into 4 types. The completely new provisions. Section 12, Section 18, Section 19. The old provisions that contains amendments by addition. Section 4, Section 6, Section 7, Section 11, Section 12. The old provisions where the words and phrases were amended by deletion. Section 1, Section 3, Section 5, Section 9, Section 10, Section 20, Section 21, Section 2. Comprehensive Agreement on Respect for Human Rights and International Humanitarian Law. This is the fruit of the negotiations of the government and the rebels. The first substantive agreement signed by the negotiating panels of the government of the Philippines in the Hague, Netherlands. This comprehensive agreement consists of 7 parts. The preamble introduces the agreement and articulates the reason for and intention of the parties. Declaration of Principles, Base, Scope, and Applicability. Respect for human rights, respect for international humanitarian law, Joint Monitoring Committee, final provisions. Rights of a person under custodial investigation. Custodial rights of a person. Section 12, Article 3 of the 1987 Constitution, Section 12. Any person under investigation for the commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice if the person cannot afford the services of the counsel. He must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of the counsel. Custodial rights of a person. No torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. Any confession or admission obtained in violation of this or Section 17 hereof shall be inadmissible in evidence. The law shall provide for penal and civil sanctions for violation of this section as well as compensation to and rehabilitation of victims of torture or similar practices and their families. Is any questioning by law enforcement after a person has been taken into custody or otherwise deprived of his freedom of action in any significant way? It refers to the investigation conducted by law enforcement immediately after arrest for the commission of an offense. The Miranda Doctrine. The Miranda Doctrine means that prior to questioning during the custodial investigation, the person must be warned that he has the right to remain silent, that any statement he gives may be used as evidence against him, and that he has the right to the presence of an attorney, either retained or appointed. The name comes from the U.S. case Miranda versus Arizona, 16L Ed 2D 694, in which the U.S. Supreme Court laid down the principle of custodial rights of an accused. The right to an attorney or to counsel, preferably of his own choice, if not one will be provided for him. This right is absolute and applies even if the accused himself is a lawyer. The right is more particularly the right to independent and competent and independent counsel is one not hampered with any conflicts of interest, and a competent counsel is one who is vigilant in protecting the rights of an accused.
Good morning everyone, I am Prince Lerona, reporter from Group 1. So let's discuss the Republic Act number 7438, or an act defining certain rights of person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation, as well as the duties of the arresting, detaining, and investigating officers, and providing penalties for violations thereof. Section 1, it is the statement of the policy to Senate to value the dignity of every human being and guarantee full respect for human rights. So gaya nga po ng mga nauna na sinabi kanina ng aking kagrupo, na dapat ang isang estado ay nararapat lamang na irespeto at pahalaga ng isang rights ng isang tao. Section 2, rights of person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation and the duties of public officers. Paragraph A, any person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation shall at all times be assisted by counsel. So, dapat may isang abogado na kasama lagi ni suspect or yung taong na-aresto. Letter B, any public officer or employee or anyone acting under his order or his place who arrests, detains, or investigates any persons for the commission of offense shall inform the latter in a language known and understood by him. If such person cannot afford the services of his own counsel, he must be provided with a competent independent counsel by the investigating officer. So, for example, kailan nga ba natin sinasabi o binibigkas yung warning sa isang tao? So, kalimitan, sinasabi natin ito pagkatapos nating maaresto or malagyan ng instrument to, para hindi siya makapag-restrain. So, for example, ikaw ay hinuhuli ko, ikaw ay hiniaresto namin sa salang pagpatay kay Juan de la Cruz. Ikaw ay may karapatang manahimik at anumang sabihin mo ay maaaring gamitan laban sa iyo sa anumang hukuman. Ikaw ay may karapatan din kumuha ng isang abogado at kung wala ang kakayahan ay pagkakaloobang ka ng isa ng gobyerno. Letter C, the custodial investigation report shall be reduced to writing by the investigating officer, provided that before such report is signed or thumb marked, if the person arrested or detained does not know how to read and write, it shall be read and adequately explained to him by his counsel or by the assisting counsel provided by the investigating officer in the language or dialect known to such arrested or detained person. Otherwise, such investigation report shall be null and void, no effect so whatsoever. So, din siya, parang fruit of the poisonous doctrine, pero in a case na sa isang custodial investigation report or documentary evidence na ginawa ng isang investigator, dapat naiintindihan ito ng isang suspect, provided na dapat may kasama din siyang isang abogado. Pero kung investigation report ay piniresent sa isang akusado na o sa isang suspect na wala sa harap ng kahit anumang abogado, mananal or baliwala yung investigation report at inadvisable antimano pagdating sa korte. Any waiver by a person arrested or detained under the provisions of Article 125 of the Revised Penal Code, which is delay in the delivery of detained persons to the proper judicial authorities, kailangan yung waiver na isasay niya ay naiintindihan at naka-reduce sa writing at kasama ng isang counsel. Letter F, any person arrested or detained or under custodial investigation shall be allowed visits by or conferences with any member of his immediate family. So, sinasabi naman dito na hindi natin dapat alisin ang karapatan sa isang tao na naaresto ang pagtanggap ng bisita, lalong-lalo na kung kamag-anak niya naman. At saka duly authorized ng CHR or yung Commission on High Rights na agencies such as the priest, their spouse, parent or child, brother, sister, grandparent, grandchild, or pwede rin naman yung guardian or ward ng isang presinto. As used in this act, custodial investigation shall include the practice of issuing an invitation. So, minsan naririnig natin na, magandang umaga po ma'am, sir, maaari po ba kayong sumama sa amin? Iniimbitahan po kayo sa loob ng presinto para masolve lang po yung isang kaso na So, parang sa pagkakaalam ko, isa na rin siyang sign ng arrest. Pero, ang pinaka-objective kasi dito ay makapag-conduct ng custodial investigation. Pero, in a friendly manner para ma-maintain lang yung rapport or yung friendly atmosphere. Assisting counsel is any lawyer except those directly affected by the case, those charged with conducting preliminary investigation, or those charged with the prosecution of crime. So, sila nga yung mga abogado. Section 3, Assisting Counsel. The assisting counsel, other than government lawyers, shall be entitled to the following fees. A. The amount of 150 pesos if the suspected person is chargeable with light felonies. Letter B. The amount of 250 pesos if the suspected person is chargeable with less grave or grave felonies. The amount of 350 pesos if the suspected person is chargeable with a capital offense. The fee for the assisting counsel shall be paid by the city or municipality where the custodial investigation conducted, provided that if the municipality of city cannot pay such fee, the province comprising such municipality of city cannot pay such fee provided the treasurer must certify that no funds are available to pay the fees of assisting counsel before the province pays said fees. Ayan. In the absence of any lawyer, no custodial investigation shall be conducted and the suspected person can only be detained by the investigating officer in accordance with the provisions of Article 125 of the Revised Penal Code. So, yung gaya nga ng sinabi natin kanina, sa loob ng 12, 18, and max na 36 hours, kung walang presence ng abogado at walang magsasampa ng kaso sa isang naarestong tao, narapat lamang na pakawalan siya nito. Section 4, the penalty clause. Any arresting public officer or employee or any investigating officer who fails to inform any person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation of his right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his, shall suffer a fine of 6,000 pesos or a penalty of imprisonment of not less than 8 years but not more than 10 years or both. So, dito sinasabi na maaari din na ma-void kung failed na ma-produce ng isang law enforcer dun sa taong na aresto yung sa kanyang rights. Maaari ding ma-void yung kaso. The same penalty shall be imposed upon a public officer or employee or anyone acting upon orders of such investigating officer or in his place who fails to provide a competent and independent counsel to a person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation for the commission of offense if the latter cannot afford the services of his counsel. Ayan. Any person who obstructs, prevents, or prohibits any lawyer, any member of the immediate family of a person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation, or any medical doctor or priest or religious minister chosen by him or by any member of the immediate family or by his counsel from visiting and conferring privately with him, or from examining and treating him, or from ministering to his spiritual needs at any hour of the day or in urgent cases of the night shall suffer the penalty of imprisonment of not less than 4 years nor more than 6 years and a fine for 4,000 pesos. Fine of 4,000 pesos. So, ganun din. Magiging ground din siya ng pagka-dismiss ng isang kaso. Kung i-obstruct natin yung karapatan niya sa pagbisita ng kamag-anak niya. O yun nga, yung mga nasabing tao na authorized. The provision, section 4, penalty clause pa din po tayo. The provisions of the above section, notwithstanding any security officer with custodial responsibility over any detainee or prisoner, may undertake such reasonable measures as may be necessary to secure his safety and prevent his escape.
Good morning, I'm Christine Yanga, reporter from Group 1. The United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the Treatment of Prisoners or the Nelson Mandela Rules. So, ang Nelson Mandela Rules po ay ang standard set ng United Nations para masigurado na maayos ang pagtrato sa mga prisoners. Ang mga rules din po dito ay ang mga karapatan ng bawat prisoners at ang pagbibigay ng guidelines para sa kanilang kalusugan at kapakanan ng bawat isa sa kanila. Rule 1. So, dapat po lahat ng mga prisoners ay tinatrato ng tama at walang dapat ni isa sa kanila ang makaka-experience ng torture at kailangan rin na palaging sinisigurado ang kaligtasan ng bawat isa sa kanila. Rule 2. Ang mga kasalukuyang rule ay dapat pinapatupad ng walang bias. Wala dapat discrimination pagdating sa kung saan man sila nanggaling, anuman ang kulay nila o language, at kahit na ano pang status nila sa kanilang buhay, ay dapat igalang nila kung ano man ang beliefs at opinion nila sa buhay. Rule 3. Imprisonment or other measures that keep people away from outside world ay mahirap para sa kanila dahil sa pagkawala ng kanilang rights dahil nahihirapan sila na magdesisyon dahil nawalan sila ng freedom. Rule 4. So, ang purpose po ng imprisonment o ang pag-alis ng kanilang kalayaan ay para mabawasan ang mga pwede pong mangyaring crime. At ang goal dito ay kapag ang pagkakulong ng isang tao ay ginamit upang masigurado na magbabalik loob ito upang makagawa ng tama at maging responsible citizen. Rule 5. So, dapat po ang system sa loob ng kulungan ay may equality kagaya ng buhay sa labas. para hindi mawala ang kanilang responsibility at dignidad bilang mga tao. Rule 6. Prisoner information management. In every place where there are prisoners, kinakailangan magkaroon sila ng system na pamamahala tungkol sa kanilang information o kalagayan. Pwede itong database or a registration book with numbered and signed pages. At dapat there must be measures in place to ensure the safety of information and prevent unauthorized access or modification of the system. Rule number 7. Walang tao ang dapat ma-admit sa kulungan kung wala namang valid order of his imprisonment. Rule number 8. Ang personal na impormasyon ng prisoner ay dapat ilagay sa system ng pagmamahala ng impormasyon ng prisoner habang siya'y nakabilanggo. Rule number 9. Lahat ng mga records na nasabi sa Rule 7 at 8 ay dapat manatiling confidential at dapat may bigay lamang sa mga taong may responsibility na magkaroon ng access ng nasabing record. At dapat every prisoner shall be given permission to see the records relating to him except to parts that dealt with national law. At may karapatan na makatanggap ng opisyal na kopya ng mga record na ito pagkatapos ng kanilang paglaya. Rule 10. Ang Prisoner's Information Management System ay dapat gamitin para makabuo ng reliable data tungkol sa characteristics of the prison population kasama ang level of coverage para makabuo ng foundation para sa mga decision-making batay sa evidence. Rule 11. Different categories of prisoners ay dapat ilagay sa iba't ibang institution or part of institution. It can be based on their sex, age, criminal record, or legal record for their imprisonment and the need for their care. Rule number 12. If sleeping accommodation is in individual cells or rooms, each prisoner shall be alone in his cell or room each night. At kung may mahalagang rason kagaya ng overcrowding, kailangan ng Central Prison Management ay gumawa ng violation of this policy at hindi dapat magkaroon ng 2 prisoners sa iisang jail room. Rule number 13. All rooms that are given to prisoners, especially the room for their sleeping area, ay needed na dapat sumunod sa lahat ng health that considers condition, especially the cubicle of air, minimum floor space, lighting, heating, and ventilation. Rule number 14. All places that prisoners need to work, dapat tama ang laki ng mga bintana para makapagbasa o makapagtrabaho ang mga prisoner sa may liwanag ng ilaw. At dapat makapasok ang sariwang hangin kahit pa mayroong artificial na ventilation o wala. Dapat maglaan ng sapat na artificial na lighting upang makapagbasa o makapagtrabaho ang mga prisoner nang hindi nahihirapan ang kanilang paningin. Rule number 15. The sanitary facilities shall be adequate or sufficient to enable each prisoner to meet their natural needs when necessary, and this shall be done in a clean and dignified manner. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Rule 36. Restriction, Discipline, and Sanctions. This statement emphasizes the importance of maintaining discipline and order in prisons, but it also acknowledges that this should be done with minimal restrictions, only as much as needed to ensure safety, security, and community life, and implies that too much restriction can negatively impact the well-being of both prisoners and staff, including mental health. Rule 47. Instruments of restraints. This principle outlines that the use of chains, iron, or any other instrument of restraint that are inherently degrading or painful should be prohibited in correctional facilities. Such restraints have the potential to inflict physical and psychological harm to individual, leaving long-lasting emotional and psychological scars. Rule 50. Searches of prisoners and cells. This statement outlined that any searchers of prisoners and their cells must adhere to international laws and standards, while also taking into consideration the need for prison security. The searches should be conducted in a manner that respects the dignity and privacy of the individual being searched and should follow the principles of proportionality, legality, and necessity. Rule 54. Information to and complaints by prisoners. Upon admission to a prison, it is important that prisoners are provided with written information that outlines their rights, obligations, and the rules and regulations they must adhere to while incarcerated. These informations should also include details on how prisoners can seek information, access legal advice, and make complaints or requests. It is crucial for prisoners to have access to this information as it helps them understand and adapt to the prison environment. By providing this information, prisons can ensure transparency, enable prisoners to exercise their rights, and promote a safer and more respectful prison environment. Rule 58. Contact with the outside world. Prisoners have the right to maintain communication with their family and friends, albeit under necessary supervision. This can be done through various means such as a written correspondence, utilizing telecommunication services if available, electronic or digital platform, and other approved methods. In addition to written communication, prisoners should also be allowed to receive visits from their loved ones. These measures are important for supporting the mental and emotional well-being for prisoners, maintaining familial and social connections, and assisting in their rehabilitations and reintegration into society. It is essential to ensure that these communications are carried out in supervised manner to maintain security within the prison facility. Rule 64. Books. Every prisoner should have access to a library within the prison facility. This library should be available for the use of all prisoners and contain instructional books. Among other reading materials, it is important to encourage prisoners to make full use of the library and engage in reading and educational activities. Providing access to a library not only offers prisoners the opportunity to expand their knowledge and skills, but also help in their prisoners' growth, rehabilitation, and preparation for reintegration into society. Rule 65. Religion. If there are enough prisoners of the same religion in a prison, it is important to appoint or approve a qualified representative of that religion. This representative should be someone who can provide appropriate guidance and support to the prisoners in matters related to their religious beliefs and practices. If the number of prisoners justifies it and conditions in the prison allow, this agreement should be on a full-time basis. Having a dedicated representative for a specific religion ensures that the spiritual and religious needs of prisoners are respected and accommodated. Rule 67. Retention of prisoners' property. When a prisoners enter a prison, any money, valuables, clothing, or other belonging that they are not allowed to keep according to the prison regulations will be taken from them and securely stored. The prison staff will create an inventory of these items, and the prisoners will sign it acknowledge the transfer of custody. It is responsibility of the prison to ensure that these belongings are kept in good condition while they are in custody. By following this process, the prison aims to protect the prisoners' possession and maintain accountability for this item throughout their incarcerations. Yun lang po. Thank you.
3. Ako po si Cero Sargento from Group 1. Ang i-report ko po ay Rule 68. Every prisoner shall have the right and shall be given the ability and means to inform immediately his or her family or any other person designated as a contact person about his or her imprisonment, about his or her transfer to another institution, and about any serious illness injury. Dapat daw po lahat ng preso ay may kakayahan o may karapatan na i-inform yung pamilya nila kung anong nangyayari sa kanila sa loob, kung anong activities na meron sila, o kung anong karamdaman na meron sila. Rule 71. Notwithstanding in the initiation of an internal investigation, the prison director shall report with any delay any custodial death, disappearance, or serious injury to judicial or other competent authority that is independent of the prison administration and mandated to conduct prompt, martial, and effective investigation into circumstances and causes of such cases. Rule 73. When prisoners are being removed or from an institution, they shall be exposed to public view as little as possible, and proper safeguards shall be adopted to protect them from insult, curiosity, and publicity in any form. Dapat daw po, pagka ililipat na sila, kailangan din nilang ma-expose sa labas na may nagbabantay na mga safeguard para maprotektahan sila sa pang-insulto ng mga civilian at sa panghusga sa kanila. The transport of prisoners in conveyance with inadequate ventilation or light or in any way which would subject them to unnecessary physical hardship shall be prohibited. The transport of prisoners shall be carried out at the expense of the prison administration, and equal conditions shall apply to all of them. Rule 74. The prison administration shall provide for the careful selection of every grade of the humanitarian professional capacity and personal suitability for the work that the proper administration of prison depends. Rule 83. There shall be a twofold system for regular inspections of prisons and penal services. A. Internal administrative inspections conducted by the Central Prison Administration. B. External inspections conducted by a body of independent of the prison administration, which may include competent international or regional bodies. In both cases, the object of inspections shall be to ensure that prisons are managed or accordance with the existing laws. Next one. Rule 86. A. Prisoners under sentence guiding principles. The guiding principles there and are intended to show the spirit in which penal institutions should be administrated and the purpose that which they could then aim. Next. Rule 93. The purpose of classification shall be A. The separate from others those prisoners who, by reason of their criminal records or characters, are like exercise a bad influence. B. To divide the prisoners into classes into order to facilitate their treatment with a view their social rehabilitation. So far as possible, separate prisons or separate sections of all prisons shall be used for the treatment of different classes of prisoners. Rule 93. The treatment of persons sentenced to imprisonment or similar measure shall have as its purpose, so far as the length of the sentence permits, to establish in them the will to lead law-abiding and self-supporting. Rule 95. System of privilege of appropriate for the different classes of prisoners and the different methods of treatment shall be established at the prison. Every prison is in order to encourage good conduct, develop a sense of responsibility, and secure the interest and cooperation of prisoners in their treatment. Rule 96. Sentenced prisoners shall have the opportunity to work and or to actively participate in their rehabilitation, subject to determination and physical and mental fitness by a physician or other qualified healthcare professionals. Rule 104. Education and recreation. Provision shall be made for the further education of all prisoners capable of profiting thereby, including religious instructions in the countries where this is possible. Social relations and aftercare. Special attention shall be paid to the maintenance and improvement of such relations between a prisoner and his or her family as are desirable in the best interest of both. Rule 109. Prisoners with mental disabilities and or health conditions. Persons who are found to be not criminally responsible or are later diagnosed with severe mental disabilities and or health conditions for whom staying in prison would mean an exacerbation of their condition shall not be detained in prison, and arrangements shall be made to transfer them to mental health facilities as soon as possible. Rule 111. Prisoners under arrest or awaiting trial. Persons arrested or imprisoned by reason of criminal charge against them, who are detained either in police custody or in prison custody, but have not yet been tried and sentenced, will be referred to as untried prisoners. Unconvicted prisoners are presumed to be innocent and shall be treated as such. Next one. Rule 121. Civil prisoners. In country where the laws permits imprisonment for debts or by order of a court under any other non-criminal process. Persons so imprisoned shall not be subjected to any greater restriction or severity than necessary. Next one. Rule 122. Person arrest or detained without prejudice to the provision of Article 9 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Persons arrested or imprisoned without charge shall be accorded to the same protection as the accorded under Part 1 and Part 2. Section C of these rules, relevant provisions of Part 2, Section A, and these rules shall be likewise be applicable while their application may convicted to the benefit of his special group. Next one. Thank you.
So sa chapter review, naintindihan naman natin ang different nature and definition of human rights at saka yung basic characteristics of human rights, principle ng human rights, and discussion about the classification of rights and stages of human rights, and understand the three obligation of state parties. And kasama rin natin syempre sa chapter natin ang sources and foundation of human rights law and the civil and political rights ng mga tao. At syempre, ang rights of a person under custodial investigation, the Miranda Doctrine, rights of a person during custodial investigation, and the Republic Act number 7438, and the United Nations or yung the Nelson Mandela rules. Thank you po.